sessions, she explained you about how to go ahead with the alignment, how to calculate, how to make the matrix. So we'll go ahead with the, till now you have learned, we have two kinds of the alignments, local alignment and global alignment. So in local alignment, we break our sequence into smaller stretches and we try to find out the best matching sequence to the small pair. And in the global alignment, we will take entire sequence and try to find out the best matching templates for the entire query sequence. So I'm going to start about a local alignment tool known as BLAST, and it is the most frequently used tool on the NCBI to find out the homologs and distantly related proteins of a given query sequence. So the full form of BLAST is Basic Local Alignment Search Tool. What is BLAST? BLAST is nothing but a tool for comparing the given nucleotide and protein query sequences against the known sequences in the public databases. Like ma'am has told you about a lot of databases, right? EMBL, GenBank, UniProt, SwissProt. She has discussed a lot. So in basic alignment search tool BLAST, we will put our query sequence, which could be either a nucleotide or a protein sequence, and we will try to find what are the matching homologs with this given query sequence. And why do we need to do it? Because we know that the sequences having similar type of the structure, similar type of the sequence will form similar type of the structure, and they will have similar kind of the function. So in order to find out the structure of the proteins, in order to find out the functions, we need to find out the matching homologs. So BLAST is a set of sequence comparison algorithms used to search databases for optimal local alignments of a given query. So by local alignment, I means I need to break my query sequence into different fragments and seek matches between the query and the database. Now, what was the need for developing BLAST? Initially, we had dynamic programming to find out to do the pairwise alignment, but dynamic programming was much slower and it was taking a lot of time. So scientists came up with this tool BLAST, which is 50 times more faster than dynamic programming. When you go on the NCBI site, you will find we have different kinds of the BLAST. So the very basic type of, and let me tell you that this categorization of BLAST into different types is dependent on two parameters. First parameter is whether your given query is a nucleotide. 8 minute annotation has to be disabled. Just wait, I didn't disable. Someone different types of the BLAST, and I was telling you that the classification of the BLAST into different types is on the basis of two parameters. First parameter is whether the input sequence which I am giving, is it a protein sequence or is it a nucleotide sequence? And second parameter is the way I am going to search, whether I am going to take a database as such or I am going to do the translation. There are two ways. Sometimes the query gets translated into 6 frames into a protein. You know that when we go for the translation, we take ORFs and we have the translation in 6 frames. +1, +2, +3, -1, -2, and -3, right? So when you take the query as such without doing translation, that is a different kind of the BLAST. But when you're going to translate your query into protein and then do the searching, then it is a different kind of a BLAST. And why do we need to do the translation? Because the concept here is that proteins are more conserved as compared to the nucleotide sequences. And protein motifs and protein conserved residues give us a better approximation of the functions as compared to nucleotide against nucleotide. So that is why the translated BLAST had to come into existence. So the first kind of the BLAST is BLAST-N. You can see here it is nucleotide to nucleotide BLAST. Here the query sequence will be a DNA sequence, and this DNA sequence is going to be searched against the DNA database. So BLAST-N may both my query as well as database is nucleotide. Next type of BLAST is protein BLAST, BLAST-P. In BLAST-P, my query is protein as well as the database against which it is going to search. It is also a protein database. Now, what happens sometimes is that we are not able to find the distant homologs of a given protein. There could be it gives BLAST P only gives me that result in which the matching similarity is around 80 to 100%. But if it is a very distantly relative homolog, then I need to go for the PSI-BLAST and Phi-BLAST for a protein. What is PSI-BLAST? PSI-BLAST is position specific iterative blast. And what is Phi-BLAST? Phi-BLAST is pattern hit initiated blast. So in these two methods, PSI-BLAST and Phi-BLAST, our protein is going to be searched by repeated round of iterations, and we use here position specific scoring matrix to find out the distant homologs. Okay, and in case of the Phi-BLAST, what we do is that instead of having a search against each sequence and doing the repetitive iterations, we look for a pattern conservation. For example, I have taken a 12 to 15 window size of amino acid in the given query, and I try to find those homologs in the database which are having this conserved pattern of 12 to 15 amino acids. So this is a basic difference. That in case of the PSI-BLAST, position specific iterative blast, I am going to search against each position of the amino acid. If my query had 10 amino acid, so I am going to find out in position number 1 if valine was there. So I am going to find out in how many sequences at position 1 valine is occurring. So that is your PSI-BLAST, and iterations means repeatedly I am going to do again and again. But in case of Phi, it's not only a particular position, it's a particular pattern having a greater number of amino acids. So I hope it's clear that for protein, we use two kind of the blasts. Our main kind of the blast is BLAST P, and for distant homologs, we go for Psi and Phi-BLAST. Now let's come to the next type of the blast. So as I was telling you that in many blast types, we don't use the regular protein against a regular protein database or a regular nucleotide against a regular nucleotide database. We need to do the translation. So in BLAST X, as you can see here, the third type of the BLAST X, here the query is a nucleotide query which you will input. The input that you're going to take here is a nucleotide, but this nucleotide will be converted into proteins by translation. And the database against which you're going to do the search is protein. So BLAST X is a tool where my query sequence is a nucleotide, but it gets translated into 6' proteins. It goes through 6' translation and is translated into different proteins, and then those proteins are going to be searched against the database of proteins. I hope it's clear. Next type of blast is T-BLAST X. What happens here is that you will input, again the input sequence here is a nucleotide, but that nucleotide sequence is going to be converted by 6' translation into different proteins, and the database is also a nucleotide database, but that also gets converted. So here in T-BLAST X, both the query sequence and database sequences are translated. Originally both are nucleotides, but they will be translated. So a translated query is going to be searched against a translated database in case of T-BLAST X. And the purpose of T-BLAST X is to find very distant relationships between the nucleotide sequences. Next type of blast is T-BLAST N. Now the difference between BLAST X and T-BLAST N is that here I will input my query as a protein sequence. So I take a protein sequence and I searched against a database which is basically a nucleotide database, but the database will be translated into various proteins and then the search will be done. So I will have a comparison of a query protein against a database of protein only. But that database is not original protein database. That is a nucleotide which is going to be translated into proteins. So you need to remember that in BLAST X, my query is translated and database is protein. But in case of T-BLAST N, my query is protein and the database is a nucleotide database which is translated. So this program is basically used to compare a given protein query sequence against all the 6 reading frames of a nucleotide sequence database. Now, when you have to compare the very large number of the query sequences, then comes into account MegaBLAST. MegaBLAST is a tool which is much faster than the basic BLAST. And when your genomic size is very huge, in that case we go for mega BLAST. So what all we have learned till now? We have learned that we have BLAST N, nucleotide versus nucleotide. We have BLAST P, protein query versus protein database. We have two more forms of BLAST P for getting the distant homologs of proteins, PI-BLAST and Psi-BLAST. Then we have BLAST X, in which the nucleotide is translated and database is protein. We have T-BLAST N, in which the query is protein and database is translated. Then we have T-BLAST X, in which both are translated, query as well as database. And we have MegaBLAST, which is used for a very huge number of the input sequences. So you will find that of all these BLAST programs, the most common type is BLAST N and BLAST P, because they use the direct comparison. There is no translation. But it has been found, as I was telling you in initial slides, that protein sequences are more conserved as compared to nucleotide sequences. So we should go for T-BLAST N or BLAST X or T-BLAST X, because it will give us the better result. It will give us more reliable result as compared to dealing with the coding DNA. Now let's come to the algorithm of BLAST. What is the algorithm by which BLAST is working? So we have, it's basically a local sequence alignment. So we have a scoring matrix made based on the basis of the Smith-Waterman, whereby it will compare the scores. But how do we do it? When we start searching, if I have, let me use annotation to tell you. So what happens here is that, let us say I had a nucleotide sequence of this size. A, G, C, A, T. Okay, I have this sequence. So what it will do is that in case of the nucleotides, it will break my given sequence into a K letter size sequence. So this K is 11. That means it will take 11 sequences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. From T to G, it is the first stretch, as I have highlighted. So K is a small fragment of the DNA, which is having a size of 3 in case of a protein sequence and a size of 11 in case of a nucleotide sequence. So I am going to search the best matching homologs in the database against this 11 size or K size of my query sequence. So this will be my first round of searching. Second round mein, I will ignore my first set of the nucleotide, and I will start from second letter. Again go till 11. This is my next stretch. In the third round, I will start from the third letter, from this A. Okay. So now the funda here is that we go for the best matching templates from the database, and we call them as the high scoring segment pair. As you can see on my screen, that extend the exact matches. I need to come to the mouse. Extend the exact matches to high scoring segment pair. And we also give a calculation. I will show you in next slides. So our aim is to find this after breaking the sequence into a K size nucleotide, having a window size of 3 in case of amino acids and having a size of 11 for a DNA sequence. I will do the possible matching of this K size fragment and find out the high scoring segment pairs from the given database against the query. And I will extend from the positions where I get these HSPs. Let's move on to the next slide. That how do we do it? So this is what has been shown for a protein here, that in case of protein, I was telling you that we take a window size, a K size of 3 amino acids. So it has shown that in the first iteration, PQG was taken. In the second iteration, QGE is taken. In the third round, it is starting from G and so on. So we need to first find the HSPs, and then the very important point is we need to evaluate the significance of this HSP score. What is the score of this high scoring segment pair? And we have to when we get the places where we get 2 or more HSP regions, then that is concatenated data, concatenated in the form of a longer alignment. And also, as ma'am has told you in the morning, that to make the alignment optimal, we need to insert the gaps so that the alignment, but this gap has a penalty. There are two kinds of the penalties: gap opening penalty and gap extension penalty. So whenever you are inserting a gap, that is going to decrease my score. But to do good alignment, I need to do it. I'll move on to the next slide, showing you the output and the scoring. Okay. So what happens is that I will come to each parameter, then you will understand. So this is something the BLAST outputs looks like. You get a score. You have taken a query which is aligned with the subject. And initially when there was alignment, we used to see the vertical bars, we used to see single dots and colons. And what was the meaning of these? I'll explain. Initially, when the alignment was found, when you used to have the alignment, there was these signs. A vertical bar between, suppose if I have aligned adenine with adenine. If A in the query is aligned with A in the database, I get a vertical bar. So that means this is an exact alignment. But if I get a dot, that means it's a similar kind of the alignment. A purine is going to be replaced by a purine only, or a pyrimidine is going to be aligned with a pyrimidine only. So, and for the amino acids, if I get a dot between two sequences, that means they're a similar kind of the amino acids. They both are polar, they both are belonging to the acidic group of the amino acids, or they are belonging to the basic group of the amino acids. So when I see a dot in between the two alignments, that means it is the substitution of one particular amino acid with same type of the amino acid. But the moment I see a colon, this type of thing, colon between the two sequences, that means it's a dissimilar kind of a substitution. In the query, if I had got one acidic amino acid, so that means the acidic amino acid is going to be replaced by a basic. For example, if a glutamine is, or I can say if a aspartic acid, which is an acidic amino acid, aspartic acid is going to be matching with lysine. Lysine is my basic amino acid. So if I have this kind of the alignment, I will found the colon, because acidic is aligned with the basic amino acid. However, if a acidic is going to be aligned with acidic only, then I get a dot. So these signs were very important when we started with the alignment protocol. So what I want to tell you here is that when I have done a BLAST, you can see here also that plus sign is there. So plus sign means the similar kind of the amino acids are there. When R is replaced with Q and a plus sign you have got, that means the nature of amino acids is similar. और जहाँ पे आपका exact alignment है वहाँ तो कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है, वहाँ एक vertical bar आता है बीच में. And this is showing my gap. So in the output you see I am getting a E value here. I am getting identities. I am getting gaps. I am getting score. And you need to remember that ultimate score of a BLAST algorithm is a bit score. There are two kinds of the scores, raw score and bit score. But final score that we take into account is a bit score. I will tell you what it is. And you have also seen the similarity. So in the output, when you're trying to align your query with the database, with the template, I get these results. What is the gap percentage? What is the similarity? What is the E value? What is identity percentage? And what is the final score of the alignment bit score? Now let us see what all are these parameters. Thank you. Okay. So this E value we also called expectation value or expected value. E value is a parameter that defines the number of random hits by chance when searching a database of particular size. So I want to have the results which are actually matching to my query sequence. But e-value tells me the number of random hits which have been obtained by default in the alignment of the query with the database sequences. So it is expected that e-value should be as less as possible. As I told you that it is a random number of the hits that are obtained in the alignment of the query with the database. So I want the randomness to be as less as possible. So lower the value of E in the alignment, better is the alignment score. So you need to remember whenever we ask what is E value. So E value is a parameter which tells the number of random hits obtained in the alignment of the query with the database. And lesser the value of the E, better is the alignment, better is the match. Another important value which we used in BLAST is p-value. What is p-value? Again, p-value tells me the probability of the chance alignment occurring with a particular score or better score. That means when you are trying to score the alignment, you want to have a perfect score based on the actual data, based on actual similarity, based on actual identity. But p-value is telling me that what is the probability that you have got this score of 1.06 or 5.06 by chance. Or by chance your data is showing that this is a good score. But in actuality it is not so. So p-value is calculated by relating the observed alignment score S to the expected distribution of high scoring segment pairs and by comparing the random sequences of same length with my query. So if it is a good alignment, p-value should be equal to 0. Right? You want that your score should not be based on a random alignment or chance alignment. So both these values, E values and P values should be lesser. E value was telling me the chance of getting random hits in the alignment process. And P value is telling me the chance of getting a particular score based on that chance alignment. So both these values are basically a measure of the noise in the system. And we want them to be as low as possible. Now let's see how do we calculate the score. That score I was referring to. So what happens is that you can see the two sequences here, two nucleotide sequences that have been in the query. So as ma'am told you in the morning that we have a particular score in the local alignment in the Smith-Waterman algorithm for the identities and for particular negative score for the mismatches. And we also deduct the gap penalties, gap opening and gap extension penalties to find out the score. So this is basically a raw score of the alignment. When I'm aligning my query with the database sequences, the score that I get is my raw score. So raw score of alignment is denoted by S here, and it is considered as the sum of substitution and gap scores, right? Substitution scores I'm going to get from PAM and BLOSSOM if it is an amino acid matrix, and these gap scores are calculated as the sum of gap opening penalty G and gap extension penalty L. So for a gap of sequence of length N, the gap cost will be gap opening penalty G plus L is the extension penalty multiplied by my sequence length. Okay, you see here on my screen कि आखिर हम स्कोरिंग कर कहां से रहे हैं. ये मैंने आपको बताया कि जब गैप डालते हैं तो उसकी ओपनिंग पेनल्टी लगेगी, जो सीक्वेंस लेंथ है, इफ इट इज एन लेंथ सीक्वेंस यू नीड टू कंसीडर दैट प्लस एक्सटेंशन पेनल्टी, and the total score that we take is summation of score for the identities and mismatches minus the gap penalties. So after alignment, by using these matrices, for if it is a protein, PAM and BLOSSOM, I get my score, and the maximum value of the raw score is calculated. But then this is not the final score. I need to optimize it in terms of the bit score. How do I convert a raw score obtained by this formula into a final score, bit score? I'll come on to it. Okay, let's move on. So bit score, as I was telling you, that raw score needs to be converted into bit score because it's a normalized score. Raw scores are not calculated using the statistical parameters k and lambda. What happens is that when you are doing your alignment score is totally based on the size, space and size. What size of the amino acids you have taken and what is the space and size of the system in which you have done the calculations. So we need to normalize our raw score into the bit score, and bit score is given by this formula: lambda s minus ln k upon lambda 2. Here my k and lambda are the statistical parameters which are based on the system size and system space, and the moment I multiply my raw score with lambda and I subtract ln k and divide by this, my raw score gets converted to the bit score. And also you should know that how do I calculate the e value? So e value is calculated by taking into account the bit score. This is the formula. What is this m and n here? M is my sequence length of query and n is my sequence length of the database. So the two sequences which I am comparing, m tells me the sequence size of the first sequence and n tells me the sequence size of the second sequence. So this is how first I need to calculate based on the substitution matrices. I need to find out, and the gap penalties, I need to calculate the raw score of alignment. Then after raw score, I need to convert this raw score into a normalized score of alignment known as bit score by using the statistical parameters lambda and k. This is the formula. How do I calculate my raw score s into a bit score of s dash? And using your final bit score, we find out the expected value. And expected value is dependent on the sequence length of both the sequences, m and n. So bit score assumes that the statistical significance of the scoring system is employed and we do not need to totally depend on the sequence space. So I hope you have learned the parameters e value, p value and bit score. So this alignment which I was showing you here in the output. Now you know how we calculated the bit score of the alignment. What is the e value? You can see here it is 3 e to the power minus 14. So it is very low. Normally we considered that e value should be less than 10 to power minus 4. Ideal threshold is that consider all the alignments for which e value is having the value less than 10 to power minus 4. Okay, now I will demonstrate you once we have learned different types of blast and the blast parameters. I will show you how we go ahead with the practical objectives. So this is when we are performing a blast practical. The main thing is you need to find out what type of blast you need to do, whether you need to go for a protein blast because you want to get a protein sequence from the database against a query protein sequence. So first step is that find which blast you need to use. Then you have to take your query sequence from the FASTA in the FASTA format, or you can directly use the accession number of the query sequence to put as the input. Then select the database to search, run blast program, analyze the results. The results are analyzed mainly in terms of their percentage similarity, identity, and e value. So I have shown you here the interface of NCBI. We will also be performing the practical. I will show you 1 to 2 practicals. So this is the user interface of BLAST present on the NCBI page. When you go to the BLAST window, you will get these kind of the BLAST, protein BLAST, BLAST X, T BLAST, and nucleotide BLAST, what BLAST you want to run. Then you put your query here, like in the given screenshot, I have shown you it's a FASTA format sequence, which is used as an input. You have to select the database after putting the input query sequence, and you get an output like this. You can see the score here, bit score, e value was 0, identity, and how many positive substitutions and what is the gap score. Also, I had taken here a protein query. So by using this BLAST P, I can find out the distance tree. I can find out the phylogenetic relationship between my query and different homologs. So this is a distance tree showing the evolutionary relationship, phylogenetic relationship between my query and the different homologs. Now talking about what are the applications of BLAST. Just now I told you that the first application is it is used to find the homolog species. It is used to identify a species based on finding the homologs. Second application is it is used to locate the domains. When you are working with a protein sequence, you can find the conserved domains within your query sequence by using BLASTP or PhyBLAST. Then third, as in the figure, we can find out the phylogenetic relationships. The evolutionary relationship between various proteins can be found out using the BLAST. So identifying the species, locating the conserved domains, and establishing phylogenetic relationships is the application of BLAST. Third is you can also go for the DNA mapping. When you're working with a known species and looking to sequence a gene at an unknown location, thereby you can use BLAST because it can compare the chromosomal position of your query sequence to the relevant sequences in the database. So that is how we can do the DNA mapping, by comparing the chromosome position of my query with the relevant sequences, and I can build up a DNA map. And last is not just the protein motifs, we can also find out the conserved genes by using the BLAST, as it can relate the common genes in two related species, and it can be used to map annotations from one organism to another. Thank you. If you had any question, you can mail me or you can message me on this related to BLAST.